Hi, limitless souls! Today, we're diving into one of the most enduring mysteries of human history and spirituality: Atlantis. Was it a real civilization that existed thousands of years ago? Was it only a story invented by philosophers? Or is it something more? A memory, a symbol of our collective fall from higher consciousness? This topic has fascinated people for centuries, and for good reason. Atlantis is not just about a sunken island, it's about humanity's relationship with wisdom, technology, and spirit. It's about what happens when a civilization loses its alignment with higher truth. And it's about how we, right now, may be standing at a similar crossroads. In this video, I'll take you through what ancient sources actually say about Atlantis, how esoteric traditions like Theosophy and Edgar Cayce's readings expanded the story, the connection between Atlantis, Egypt, and other early civilizations, how Gnostic thought interprets Atlantis, not just as history but as a mirror of the soul's journey, and why this story matters deeply for us today. Let's begin with where the story of Atlantis comes from. The first written account comes from Plato, the Greek philosopher, around 360 BCE. In his dialogues, Timaeus and Critias, Plato described Atlantis as a powerful island civilization that existed about 9,000 years before his time. According to him, Atlantis lay beyond the Pillars of Hercules, which we now call the Strait of Gibraltar. He described it as an advanced society, wealthy and technologically sophisticated. But over time, the Atlanteans became corrupt, greedy, and power-hungry. Eventually, they waged war against Athens, and the gods, angry at their arrogance, caused the island to sink into the ocean in a single day and night of misfortune. Now, here's the important point. Some scholars argue Plato invented Atlantis as an allegory, a moral lesson about hubris and the downfall of civilizations. Others believe he may have been passing down fragments of a real memory. Later traditions picked this up. Esoteric thinkers like Helena Blavatsky in the 1800s and psychic readings from Edgar Cayce in the 1900s both described Atlantis as a real civilization that fell because of its spiritual decline and misuse of advanced technology. So from the very beginning, Atlantis has been more than just history. It's always been tied to morality, wisdom, and the dangers of forgetting who we are. Now let's connect this to Gnostic thought. Whether or not Atlantis existed physically, the story mirrors something very real: the fall of consciousness. In Gnosticism, we hear about forgetfulness. The soul originates in the fullness of the divine, the pleroma, but descends into material reality, where it forgets its source. That forgetfulness leads to suffering, ignorance, and enslavement to illusion. Atlantis, in this sense, is not just a sunken island. It is a symbol of what happens when beings forget their origin. The Atlanteans, according to esoteric tradition, once lived in harmony with higher truth, but gradually they turned away from spirit. They misused power, both political and technological, and that imbalance caused their collapse. This parallels the human story. Each of us has a kind of Atlantis moment, a time when we fall from balance, when ego or illusions takes over, when the harmony we once felt is lost. On a collective level, Atlantis symbolizes humanity's long history of rising and falling, gaining wisdom, then misusing it, then collapsing. Now let's talk about how Atlantis connects to other ancient civilizations. Some traditions suggest that when Atlantis fell, survivors carried fragments of their knowledge to other parts of the world: Egypt, Sumer, the Americas. This is why we see sudden bursts of advanced knowledge in those places. Architecture, astronomy, mathematics, spiritual systems. For example, the Egyptian pyramids and their precise alignment to the stars. Sumerian texts describing advanced cosmology. Mayan and Aztec calendars tracking celestial cycles with accuracy. Were these just coincidences of human brilliance? Or were there the remnants of something earlier? Even if Atlantis itself was never real, the idea of a lost advanced civilization lives in so many traditions that it suggests a deeper memory, a kind of collective knowing that humanity once had great wisdom and then lost it. For Gnostics, this matters because it isn't just about history, it's about how truth is always fragmented, scattered, or hidden, but never destroyed. Wisdom survives collapse. It reappears in new forms, waiting for us to recognize it again. Now, this is where the story gets uncomfortably relevant. Think about Atlantis, a civilization with advanced knowledge, incredible achievements, but slowly corrupted by greed, power, and disconnection from spirit. Doesn't that sound familiar? Today, we have advanced technology, more powerful than ever in history. We can split the atom, we can manipulate DNA, we have artificial intelligence. But have we balanced it with spiritual maturity? Or are we rushing forward with power that outpaces our wisdom? Just like Atlantis, we risk collapse if we keep advancing outwardly but ignoring inner alignment. Atlantis warns us, civilizations don't fall only because of natural disasters. They fall because of moral and spiritual failure. And that's the same lesson Gnosticism teaches about the soul. Forgetfulness, ignorance, and arrogance create suffering. Only remembrance, humility, and wisdom preserve life. Now let's shift from collective to personal. Atlantis isn't just about a lost continent, it's also a mirror of the soul's journey. Each of us has an inner Atlantis, a place where we once felt connected, whole, and aligned, but at some point lost it. Maybe it was childhood innocence, maybe it was a spiritual awakening that later felt drowned in doubt. Maybe it was relationship or community where things felt pure until ego or fear corrupted it. When Atlantis sinks in our own lives, it feels like collapse. But the Gnostic message is, collapse is not the end. Collapse clears the way for remembrance. The fall of Atlantis inside us is the moment we realize I cannot live only from ego, only from illusion, only from power. I must return to the source of life within me. So Atlantis becomes a personal initiation. We lose paradise, we forget our origin, and then we are invited to remember, to rebuild, to ascend. So why are we still talking about Atlantis thousands of years later? Because it's not just a story of the past, it's a story of the now. Every civilization has its Atlantis moment. Every soul has its Atlantis moment. And right now, humanity may be standing at the edge of another one. The real question is, will we repeat the fall? Or will we remember in time? From a Gnostic perspective, the lesson is always this: don't get lost in the illusion. Don't cling to power at the expense of truth. Don't mistake external progress for inner awakening. Atlantis reminds us that wisdom without spirit leads to destruction, but wisdom aligned with spirit leads to true awakening. So, whether Atlantis was a literal island that sunk, or a symbolic myth passed through generations, doesn't actually change the message. Atlantis is about the danger of forgetting who we are. It's about the cycles of rise and fall in civilizations, in communities, in individuals, and it's about the enduring spark of truth that always survives collapse. So when you hear the word Atlantis, don't just picture a sunken city. Picture the memory of a time when we were aligned with spirit, and the warning of what happens when we lose that alignment. Most importantly, see it as a call to remember, to awaken, to live in harmony with the truth of who you are. Because in the end, Atlantis is not just about the past. It's about the choices we make right now, as souls, as humanity, as sparks of the divine remembering ourselves.